Welcome to MojoPlays, and today, we're hunting for the 10 best Predator games. For this list, we'll be looking at the 10 best games to feature the ultimate hunter. As long as you play as the Predator, or the hunter is the star of the title, it's eligible to be considered. What was your favorite game featuring the Predator? Hit us with the greatest high five of all time down in the comments.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Predator. It only seems fitting to start with the game based on the movie that started it all. Clearly taking inspiration from Contra and Metroid, players assume the role of Dutch as he explores the jungles using only the weapons he finds within the levels. Featuring multiple paths to the end of the levels as well as a completely separate mode that turns the game into an auto side-scroller, the title also took lessons from the old school video game design approach to difficulty to pad the title's short length. While the title clearly took some liberties when it came to story, including at one point the Predator becoming nothing but a giant laser shooting head for video game reasons, the title is nonetheless an interesting time capsule and one of the better movie tie-in games of the 80s. Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Just because the movie was awful doesn't mean the game has to be. One of the only titles on our list to only release on a handheld, Alien vs. Predator Requiem mostly follows the plot of the film, putting players in the camouflage of the greatest hunter trying to eradicate the aliens terrorizing a small Colorado town. Players have access to most of the Predator's arsenal, including the iconic heat vision as well as the shoulder-mounted cannon, which can be used in first person to take out long-distance targets. While the majority of the game ended up being pretty generic, it also ties into the lore about the Predator species and rewards the player for hunting with honor and not killing unarmed innocents. Alien vs. Predator. The first entry on our list to allow you to play as both the Predator and their lifelong rivals, the Xenomorphs, Alien vs. Predator for the Atari Jaguar is notable for being the first entry in the franchise to make the leap to first person. Using the same cutting-edge technology, for the time, pioneered by the likes of Wolfenstein 3D, players were able to play as the Predator, Xenomorph, and Human Soldier in 3 separate campaigns. All 3 playable characters had their own distinct playstyles and objectives. The Predator must hunt the alien queen, the Xenomorph must protect her, and the soldier must simply escape alive. The title might be dated nowadays, but this entry laid much of the groundwork for all future entries in the series. Predator 2. Poor Danny Glover may always be too old for this shit, but he's still the best cop on the LAPD, even in 16-bit. Following relatively closely to the film, players are given top-down control of Harrigan as he takes on the many gangs on the streets of LA before finally confronting the Predator and his many companions aboard its ship. In every level, Harrigan must rescue the numerous hostages spread around the surprisingly spacious levels, all while contending with constant oncoming gunfire and even the Predator itself. The gameplay is very much of its time, but still fun for a quick nostalgia trip. Do yourself a favor though, and play it with the sound turned off to avoid the title's awful, ear-shattering music. Alien vs. Predator Arcade. Beat-em-ups were a staple of the arcade scene in the 90s, and one of the easiest cash grabs for a quick property tie-in. But not all of them were terrible despite their overabundance in arcade dens. The Alien vs. Predator arcade game could have easily been a reskin of any number of beat-em-ups at the time, but developer Capcom really went above and beyond with this cabinet. With beautifully detailed sprites and unique weapons and loadouts for every character, and even a cybernetically enhanced Dutch of all options, players must defeat the many xenomorphs in their way and make it to the Queen to end the infestation before it spreads to the rest of the world. The Alien vs. Predator arcade cabinet has since been ranked as one of the best arcade beat-em-ups of all time, and rightfully so. Alien vs. Predator Extinction. Real-time strategy games are one of gaming's most popular genres, and also one of the ones most overlooked when adapting the Alien vs. Predator license. While not as mechanically complex as most other RTS titles, most likely due to the game's gamepad restrictions being exclusive to consoles, it was still an interesting approach to a property primarily associated with first-person shooters. As either the Predators, Xenomorphs, or human soldiers, each with their own tactics, arsenal, and abilities, the player must engage in numerous skirmishes, and only by completing level-specific objectives could the respective team continue in their campaign. Although brief, Extinction offers some little-seen variation in the wealth of adaptations the Alien vs. Predator franchise has offered over the years. Predator Hunting Grounds. For those of you who used to play as Dutch and his companions taking on the Predator in the jungle as kids, Predator Hunting Grounds might be the next best thing. An asymmetric multiplayer experience, 4 players become the Special Forces unit sent into the jungle to collect intel and eliminate a drug lord, while another player assumes the role of the Predator. While most undoubtedly want to be the Predator cloaked and hunting from the treetops, the game offers a nice mix of special classes for those assigned to the Special Forces team to combat the galaxy's greatest hunter. While the title does suffer from balancing issues and technical hiccups, a capable player eliminating each soldier one by one without being detected is still a thrilling experience made all the more enjoyable by the screams of the other real-life players. Predator Concrete Jungle.
Disgrace and exile are all this one could expect.
More or less Predator 2 from the Predator's perspective, Concrete Jungle brings the Predator back to the streets of a fictional version of LA with an entirely original storyline of redemption for our hunter that even crosses paths with some familiar foes. The player Predator, here known only as Scarface, must make amends within the Yautja for a mistake made 100 years ago that left much of the Predator technology behind in human hands. Besides the Predator weapons available in most other games, Concrete Jungle features an upgrade system for the Predator's many weapons and also finally gives players access to some of the technology only seen in the movies, such as the Predator's vocal mimicry to lure its prey into traps for a quick trophy kill. While many games let you play as a Predator, few let you hunt a whole world in its camouflage. Mortal Kombat X.
The Predator.
Although not in a starring role this time around, the Predator's inclusion in the Mortal Kombat franchise is simply too good to overlook. Not available in the base game, the Predator was added in future DLC alongside the Xenomorph, allowing players to continue their timeless battles one-on-one. The Predator comes fully equipped with nearly its complete arsenal of iconic weapons, including its wrist-mounted claws and smart disc for some absolutely brutal fatalities. In addition to the Predator's inclusion in the Mortal Kombat lore, the Predator also has a story mode in which after climbing the ladder and defeating Chinook, it gains the sorcery power many of the opponents in the Mortal Kombat use and becomes the ultimate warrior.
The Predator was unstoppable and decimated whole worlds single-handedly. He had become the apex predator.
Alien vs. Predator 2. Over the years, there have been numerous entries in the Alien vs. Predator franchise, as you've seen previously in our list so far, but few, if any, have managed to immerse the player in the experience the way this 2001 title by Monolith has. Featuring the now standard separate campaigns for each of the two species, what sets the AVP sequel apart is the way all the storylines intersect with one another, cleverly tying the narrative together. Besides the campaign, all the mechanics feel perfect, from climbing the walls as a xenomorph to silently hunting your prey as the Predator, and the nail-biting tension as a human soldier watching your ammo counter drop to 0 as a wave of aliens attack from every angle imaginable. Simply put, this is still the best way to experience one of the most prolific crossovers in sci-fi history. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips for MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.